Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how I made this fire simulation on the house. I was thinking to do this from so long and finally I got time to do this, and I was working on from last few weeks, like when I get free time from work on weekends and stuff, and I made this simulation. It's good. I uploaded it on my LinkedIn yesterday, so I thought I will add a tutorial. As always, you will find project files in my Gumroad page. I will add the link in the bio. So first I got this Mixamo character from Mixamo, and then this is just for the wall, the back wall. And I know I thought I would take a house from one of the Polyhaven or something, but I was like, this is a simple model, why to like download something? So I just created a small house with basic cubes, spheres, tubes, and this is how the house looked. Like basic, like, I know most of it will be dark, so I don't want to like download something else. Like this did the job. And again, I just want something else, and something like cylinders, so all of them are there. So first I started with hero file. I know I wanted the hero file to be somewhere here. I know I wanted it to be the one that takes a lot of like attention, so I know that's why I separated it. I didn't make it I didn't combine it with the rest of the file. So how it was, I just took attribute mask, and then I add some noise, and then scattered, and then gave it some velocity. So what I did was I took this motion noise, and in this velocity, what I was doing is I was using the noise from this motion effects to change this velocity across the frame range. So if you actually go through this frame range, it will change across the frame range. So it will go faster at some point, slower at some point. So this is how I want to control like initial speed of the fire. So then I made the pop simulation. It's just like the basic pop simulation, like nothing fancy, just like very basic. And I got something like this, but I know this is like a lot of points for it to be source. So what I did was I just used this small triangle. Like this is for every single point you will search for the near points, and you can give how much distance it can search for and how many points it needs to search for. And even though you search for 500 points, every point may not have 500 points around it. So if it don't, so that was the logic. So I was saying, like, if the number of points are not more than 400, so if you take point 0, and if there are not 400 points around it in this distance, just delete them. So that's how I did a lot of points. So there are so many loose points like this, all of them will be deleted, because around the 0.25 max distance we give, it may not get 400 points, the threshold points. So it deleted like that. I did a lot of source, and then from here it's like kind of like basic. I just did basic pyro, I added some noise to temperature, and even for the noise, I know I wanted it to be chaotic, so I used the same motion effects noise. So like if you change this, if you look at this, the temperature is changing, and for the fire, temperature is most important thing. The higher the temperature, the faster it raises, the more brighter it looks, I think, kind of thing. The more brighter it's very hard to like explain. Like the more temperature you have, the more emissive it will look, I think that's the right word, and the more higher it will raise. And for I again decreased it a little bit because it felt like a little too much, so I decreased it, and I used bun, and I also had the noise, and I sourced all of this. I like to cache all of my sources, because if I cache all of the sources, it gets so much easier for my simulation, because it's reading the source file directly from the disk. It's not like redoing all of these steps. And then this is like the basic file. Like you can download this Gumroad file to actually look how I did these basic simulations. Yeah, to be honest, I actually thought I will use some kind of like masks to get somewhere more turbulent and other places less, but I didn't. I thought, okay, let's do it as less fancy as possible, just like it's basic dissipation for the smoke and gas vortex confinements, some like 3 different turbulences and disturbance, and like all the basic, like nothing fancy, like all the basic. once I did that, this is how it looked, and this is how it looked with the house, and I was happy with it, and I was like, okay, this is what I want to like copy over to rest of my simulation. So I started doing small fire, like something like this and this, because I know I wanted a lot more fire. So the same setup I just copied over, but because it's small fire, I need to reduce the temperature, because as I said, the more temperature it is, the higher it goes. The less temperature it is, the lower it goes. And again, I also tweaked few things, because as the size of the fire is changing, I had to tweak some things, but it's pretty much the same. And this is how it looked after that. Chaotic. And few of the people I know in the industry, few of my friends suggested I do the roof bottom fire as well. It will look cool. So I did again a little bit things to actually control the velocity for my pop simulation, and I got something like this. And then again, this actually looked really cool after adding this, like these things, like super cool. And some fire on rods. It's the same setup again. Cage the source, and then this is how the fire on rods look. And this is another main thing. I'll just show the result first. So this is the center. Like if you look it through camera, most of it might be covered because of my asset, but I just wanted to look a little bit from here, so it will look really cool. And this needs to be like a lot chaotic, and this needs to like change, go high, go low, all of that stuff. So this is all again the same setup, but I had to tweak a lot of temperature. What is the temperature again? Because again, I use the same technique, like the buoyancy scale technique. So the same technique with motion effects noise, so it will go up down. So it worked really well. So it's going up, going down, and I was able to get all the detail I actually wanted in this. Again, I had to tweak a few more things, because the thing is, like these, like this and this are not outside, so they don't get the gas wind I had for my previous things. Like if you look at these things, I have gas wind, so they go a little bit to its right side, but for these things the gas wind is not there, so it needs to be done a little bit different. But again, I had to tweak with gas turbulences and my gas disturbance. And as we know, like gas disturbance mostly work on the dust. I need to change my threshold field here. Like I had to do it for all the simulations, because gas disturbance mainly works for smoke. So I need to, like, if you take any gas disturb, and if you look at the bindings, it's actually affecting the density. So I needed to change it to flame. So the disturb field will be like velocity, because it's the same for both of them. And then now I want to do the smoke. Initially I was thinking I will do fire and smoke in the same simulation, but I was looking at a side effects Houdini video, which was done by Fabian, and he was doing fire and smoke differently, and his logic was, what if we get notes on smoke and the file looks good, and it gets very hard to like do all of them in the same simulation, so it's better to do it separately. And I agree with him. It was better to do it separately, because if I have notes for fire, I can address separately. If I have notes for smoke, I can address separately. And then it's just, I got the fire, I changed to density and combined all of them. I did some culling, because I don't want everywhere. It's like basic culling techniques. And then I did a smoke simulation, and again it's this basic smoke simulation, nothing fancy, few turbulences, few disturbances, and gas vortex confinement, nothing fancy. It's like basic, very basic. And once I did that, this is what I got. And I know, like, I felt like it was a little too much of like density, so like it looked cool, but I felt like it's a little too much, so I had to like reduce it a bit. I just used fit O1 instead of like reducing the density. And then I subtracted density because I felt like the smoke was coming from inside the fire, and I wanted it to start more from like the edges of the fire. So I just did basic like density multiplication, like reduce the density wherever the fire is there, so just do a little bit so it won't look like it's coming inside from the fire. Like, it's just like a visual thing, it's not like anything important, it's just a visual kind of thing. And then I did the same for both like the bottom smoke, and I want to do the embers. It's the same, I just combined all of them, all of my top fire. I want the hero embers to be good, and I used this for my pop simulation. And if I go back here, and it's the same basic pop simulation. I used pop advect by volumes, and I'm getting it from second context geometry, so that's from the source of this volume I have. So it's using the volume velocity for the point sim, and this is how it looked. And I cut a lot of like points using this delete and did some trailing and got something like this. Like again, basic things just to add color and changing the p scale different. Like I don't want all the embers to be the same, so just different p scales across the points and different colors, and it's more brighter when it's high and more less when it's dying, all that kind of stuff. And I also added like bottom embers, like things going from the below, because the bottom fighter will also be emitting some embers. I did some intentional embers, like things like falling like this, but I ended up kind of not using them fully. Like the idea was, like I was looking at one of the reference, like as always reference is the king. I was looking at a lot of references before doing this. So I saw so many of the fires when it's like burning a lot, some of the, it's not embers, it just like it falls down like melting. I think I should be doing differently with maybe like vellum grains, like melting thing, or like even using flip simulation. I did it with embers. I didn't like how they were, so I just didn't add them a lot. I just added like just this one. But next time when I'm doing it, I will just definitely do it with a flip simulation or vellum grains, so it will look like that. I did some atmospheric embers, and I kind of didn't end up using this one because I didn't I kind of ended up using this one because they looked a little bit bigger and it was going a little bit out of my references, so I didn't end up using it. I used it a little bit but not too much. So, and after everything, I got the fire, I combined all of them, and I just did this is how it all looked. And then the smoke, I had to add the scatter, like, so it will look like this. I don't want to use fire as my light and light it through the smoke. It will take a lot of time to render that way, so I just cheated with the scatter. And then I did the embers and I'm changing this to display color because for some reason, I don't know, there might be another way to do it, but for Karma to read color values from the point, I had to change it to display color. Maybe I need to look into it if it can directly read CD, but last time when I did it, I did it like this, so I just did it again. I may have to look into it next time if I can directly put CD inside the shaders of the Karma. And for the house, I knew that it's burning, so I need some kind of burn mask, so I scattered points on the flame, and I just did basic attribute transfer, and then I got the hooks mask and I just sent it to output for the render. Once all of them are done, I took everything to Solaris. From here you can download the Gumroad file and look at how I did lighting, shading, and how I actually divided everything and rendered out as individual passes for Nuke. Everything is included in the file. Feel free to download it and play with it. If I have to add everything in this tutorial might become 2 hours long, so I couldn't add
lighting shading part in this tutorial.
And if you want this file, download it from the description. I will add Gumroad link in the description. Feel free to download it, play with it. I did a lot of tricks I couldn't explain in this video because I don't want this video to be more bigger. If you download that file, you can like look at all the tricks I did and try to recreate the same file I did. And subscribe to this channel for more content like this, and the more subscribers I get, the more I can do things like this. Thank you so much for watching till now. See you again in future projects. Bye bye.